Welcome to Part 8A, Ron's Lehigh River Valley. Bethlehem, Pennsylvania lies on the western edge of Northampton County. It was settled by the Moravians, a religious group from Central Europe, seeking freedom for their own way of life. At first, it was a closed society. As time went on, especially after the Lehigh Canal came through in the 1830s, it became more open. This area was taken in 1979, looking west, and contained most of the historical area we will be looking at. This area was once a 20-acre island known as Calypso, popular as a picnic and social gathering ground. It was purchased from the Moravians for $20,000 by the Lehigh Valley Railroad and filled in for a rail yard. Construction of the railroad bridge over the Lehigh River about 1890. Lehigh Bridge completed about 1900. Postcard view of the covered bridge, Pacific House, Hotel, and railroad offices about 1910. Covered bridge from south side over the Lehigh. Early view from railroad offices looking north. Looking east in 1910 from Calypso Yard. View of Railroad Tower, Pacific House, and covered bridge. The Pacific House model looking south on the model railroad. Pacific House model on location in 1980. Hill-to-Hoe bridges in the background. Looking west shows early offices, Reading Railroad, Lehigh Valley Railroad on right, and connecting track across the Lehigh River. Early view, 1900. Morning call article on the railroad offices, September 2nd, 1984. Models in 1982, quarter-inch scale, built as they looked about 1900. Note window, chimney, and roof appearances. Delaware and Hudson eastbound freight passing the offices in 1975. The Delaware and Hudson had trackage rights on the Lehigh Valley Railroad. A view of offices in Masonic Temple looking north in 2005. View of model area under construction, 2005. Scenery completed. Early Union Station, 1890s. Reading tracks are in the foreground. View from the offices. New Street Bridge is in the background. Old station, while new station was built 1925. New Lehigh Valley Station, 1948. quarter-inch to the foot model in front of the newer station, 1982. Behind Union Station, Reading Camelback prepares to take a passenger train south in 1947. Fairbanks Morse-powered train at the same location, 1959. Observation parlor car 1551, built by Pullman in 1927 at South Bethlehem. Dining car 1014 at South Bethlehem, built in 1928 by Pullman Car Company. Wife of Bethlehem Steel head Eugene Grace does the honors for the new Asa Packer train at South Bethlehem, 1939. February 1st, 1939, the new Asa Packer train was scheduled to run from New York to Lehigh daily. Eastbound John Wilkes under the Hill-to-Hill Bridge, about 1940. Switching cars with Baldwin Diesel 144 in 1951. The VO diesel was built in 1950. Note REA freight station. The Black Diamond under the Hill-to-Hill Bridge in 1955. Lehigh Valley passenger train tower and the Hill-to-Hill Bridge in the late 1950s. A trio of Alco Sentry models about to cross the Lehigh in 1973. The Fay Bridge in Bethlehem Steel in the background. The early blast furnaces from Niska Hill. Models of the early furnaces. The ore pit in the 1940s. The Philadelphia, Bethlehem, and New England offices is at lower left. The Mincy Trail Bridge crosses at top center. The Mincy Trail Bridge will be rebuilt slightly to the west in the future. Philadelphia, Bethlehem, New England repair shops are next to it. Removal of the ore bridges in the 1940s. Last steam engine in service, 1946. Lehigh Valley Railroad preferred diesels from Alco. Here is a trio passing the blast furnaces in 1974. Lead Locos is a 2,000 horsepower model which came to the Lehigh Valley in 1964. A Conrail scrap metal train at the same location in 1998. This was the last year for Conrail, as Norfolk Southern took over in 1999. An aerial I took in 1978, looking west, it shows the ore pit in the foreground. The sintering plant is at the bottom, a dirty place to work. Hot metal cars waiting to be scrapped in 1990. Switching cars at the blast furnaces, 1993. East of the blast furnaces, 1998. Many of the auxiliary buildings were demolished around this time. Here, locker and shower building in 1998. It's March 2008. The High House was left standing, and the casino hotel will rise in the center. It's September 2008, and up goes the Sands Casino Hotel. Norfolk Southern eastbound train in 2008. By this time, all track structures demolished and made a parking lot. The only remaining ore bridge. The last ore bridge gets the casino sign in 2009. The beautiful 187th model blast furnaces was built by the pattern shop at Bethlehem Steel in the early 1950s. It was on display at the casino opening in 2009.
When the Bethlehem plant was in service, it comprised about 1,800 acres. Today, the historic core of it is less than 120, and one of the highlights of that historic core is a series of 5 blast furnaces. This is a model of blast furnace B. The furnaces in Bethlehem were lettered A, B, C, D, and E. There were also F and G at one point in history too. B furnace would be the second furnace in if you're standing at the skating rink parking lot looking towards the east. This is also the furnace you can see at the end of Founders Way next to the Steel Sack Center. This model here shows the furnace that is still standing today as it appeared in 1954 when it was under construction. This model was built by the Bethlehem Pattern and Model Shop in HO scale to the blueprints. The furnace is shown here with cables and derricks and Chicago booms that were used to assemble the furnace. This was important for Bethlehem Steel to build a model of because they didn't have computer-aided design back then. All they had were stacks and stacks of blueprints. And they were tasked with building this blast furnace from the ground up and tearing down an old furnace on the same spot, all within a time span of 180 days. When they looked at the planning process, they realized it wasn't just building a blast furnace. It was also maintaining rail operations in the Lehigh Valley Railroad, Philadelphia, Bethlehem, and New England Railroad, and the Hoover Mason Trestle, and the scale cars below the trestle. You also had to operate C furnace here and A furnace on the other side. So it was a logistical nightmare to do all of this without interrupting the other operations. I found that by building a model showing where the cranes would go, you could accurately plan and coordinate how this furnace would go up. And when you look at this model up close, you can see there's a lot of planning that's involved with it. You had to figure out how these booms would get around power lines, where you could pick up loads from without hitting the gas piping or the dust collection piping, and just marvel at the furnace itself.
The Bethlehem Steel model, built in Chicago and shipped to City Hall in Bethlehem a few years before the casino opened, needed some work. Here myself and friend Jim Kerner at work on it. The crap tables are at this location today. The grand opening casino, June 2009. Security was tight. Left to right, billionaire Sheldon Adelson and wife, president of Las Vegas Sands and casino owner. Next, Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell, Mayor Callahan, and Bethlehem Casino head Robert DeSalvo. Governor Rendell had a nickname, Fast Eddie. Robert Will at the Steel Modelers Convention at the Sands Casino building. Bob Will's father, Harry, at the Black Diamond Train Show in Easton, 1979, a father and son rail fan team. The new Black Diamond headquarters at the LaGrange Hall next to the St. Thomas United Church, 600 Makeda Road, Bethlehem, 1981. Al Auer at the Trolley Layout, 1980. Al was one of the oldest members. Visitors at the Open House, 1981. The Lionel Chassis Team Special races a Chesapeake and Ohio Allegheny down the main line, 1981. The club had a huge display of photos at the Westgate Mall on Channersville Road, Bethlehem, February 1983. Those beautiful murals in the back have been destroyed since. It's August 1981, and I put up a model show at the Wilson Gallery, Lehigh University, South Bethlehem, a tribute to the founder, Asa Packer. It featured the railroad bridges over the Delaware River at Phillipsburg, New Jersey, and eastern Pennsylvania. Saucon Yard, north branch of the Reading Railroad in 1979. Coal cars are lined up to be treated next to the roundhouse. At far right, an airport for steel executives once existed. At top were the electric furnaces, and across the Lehigh were the quarry where the sand and materials were bucketed across the river to the plant. At far right top is the village of Steel City. Looking south in 1978, it was a busy place. No coal cars waiting to be treated in the Saucon Yard. The coke works before it closed in 1998. Note tracks devoid of coal cars. Morning Call article on the coke works. Construction equipment lined up for future Route 78 in July 1986. In the background is the Champion Spark Plug Company, Carolina Chevrolet, and Route 412 looking southwest. Looking south, tracks to the coke works crossing 412 at left in April 1998. Saucon Yard already torn up. Route 78 crosses the picture in the background. The Hellertown Golf Course looking north to the coke works in the distance. When steelheads went to play golf and make their business deals, a police escort proceeded before them, blocking all the traffic in their way. Martin Tower article in the Morning Call. There were many attempts, to find other uses for the Martin Tower, where steel executives lavished themselves with the best of furnishings, despite the warnings that the company was in trouble. It stood 332 feet high and was just east of the 8th Avenue in North Bethlehem. The implosion of Martin Tower was witnessed by thousands in May 2019. The police chief said anyone looking for souvenirs in the rubble would be arrested. You could say earth to earth, dust to dust. The PPL building in Allentown is now the Lehigh Valley's tallest building. The Morning Call article about Sam's to sell the casino to Alabama tried.